Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you are in the world in this moment, we're just glad that you decided to connect with us. And before we get started with today's conversation, will you do me a favor? Like,
Share,
hit the bell down below,
and subscribe.
and share it with someone that you know. We are so glad to be having this conversation with you all today, and so glad to have our guests joining us. Today's conversation is all about better together.
Yes.
This is the ending conversation for the month of February. We've been in this a month of creative romance, and I've got just a couple of questions. I know Kaylin and Josie, them being their first year in, they have some questions for Tino and Cindy, and for James and I, because we all have been married a very long time. All right, so Kaylin and Josie, you want to ask us all your first question?
So I know we have a list, but I actually have a question. So my question is for both. I don't know who can go first or what, but my first question is when you have I call it debates, um, or if you want to say arguments, how do you guys um, get to a solution, or how do you guys find like a compromise? Like, if you understand that question, like, how do you maneuver out of emotions and come to a solution?
That's good. Who wants to go first? Go ahead.
So, so it,
Hmm.
in our younger years,
Key.
your emotion does go high because no one wants to be wrong. And
Mm.
so, what we had to learn was walk away, calm down, and then as we rehash the argument, what I've learned to do is put some word on it. You know,
Okay.
make it biblical based, and let the word decide who's right and who's wrong. That was my first way of going through that, because who's going to argue against the word?
Mhm.
I know I'm not. So it's
Which
so
which meant that sometimes, even when we thought we were right,
right.
we would find out that, oh, maybe I was thinking
We're off
wrong.
base a little bit.
Right.
Because and that's the thing about, I'm glad you said argument, because no one wants to be wrong in that point.
Hmm.
And so what we try to do is loud talk to get the point across, but no one's listening. They're just arguing. And so no one wins at that point. You know what I'm saying? So that was our method early on, because I one thing about my wife, she respected the word. And so what I did was I would go back to the word, and I say, this is how God wants it, blah blah blah. And she had to think about it. Now she could be mad at me, but she can't be mad at that word. so, so you know, listen, this is God's way. So, and I knew that. So, but in that, God gave me methods and ways to how to don't always come at her at the word, but come together at a point of learning how to agree. Because once we see how, I like to say, kind of messed up we are a little bit behind our emotions, we have to get beyond that emotion, and just figure out what's right to do, even
Hmm.
if it means that I have to admit that I'm wrong.
Hmm.
I've never been a point where I let my pride be bigger than any situation. So I learned to say, you know what, honey, I blew it. You're right. And then she'll say, you're right, because I can see my wrong in it too.
Hmm.
And I think that's for us has been the key when we so-called argue. And that's that. So we don't even argue really anymore. We just talk about it.
Well, because that was early years,
Early years,
right?
like the
So,
years you guys are in now,
so
Mhm.
then,
that's
but then as we've grown, right, as we matured,
yeah.
gain wisdom, some things just aren't worth the energy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Some things that we may be discussing, or may, what you may call an argument, it's just not worth my energy anymore. And so
Mhm.
is coming to um agreement, or getting my point across, is it really worth, me getting myself upset or stressed, or like, what is it really going to benefit? And so, is it going to be a benefit to the household, benefit to me at the end of the day? Like, you got to think about all of that, as you're moving through. But that came with wisdom, right? And age. Like, listen, I ain't got time. You know,
I think I agree with Katina. It's like it just depends on what your debate or
mhm,
argument you say is about. If it's something like petty, then it's just like, which is small and it's not going to impact your well-being or your life or your home. Then yeah, then it's just like, okay, one of us is going to give in, or else our next conversation is, oh, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? And then that is like water under the bridge after that. But if it has to, if it impacts your home or your life or whatnot, then yes, we do sit down and talk about it. I won't say argue, because we pretty much, I think the only thing that we ever argued pretty much about would be the kids,
mhm.
but they're all grown.
Yeah.
They
Yay.
Yay.
got their own arguments. So, uh, and like you guys are young, working things out. So a matter of sitting down and talking. Don't walk away from it. It's like, because if you do walk away from it, it's still gonna be there.
It's
Mhm.
going
It's
faster.
still gonna be in the back of your head or their head, and then it brings up other things. And you start arguing about the little things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it's just talk. I feel like you just talk it out, and like Katina and James said, give it to God.
Mhm.
If you guys don't think you guys can come to an agreement, pray on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, I think you got to always remember, and I know you hear it in a lot of sermons and stuff, the good messages. Listen to
Right.
them sermon. But then the message, your tongue is the most dangerous weapon.
Mm.
Wars
Mhm.
have been started, fights have been started,
Mhm.
families separating have been started from things that have been said. Because once it's out, you can't bring it back in, right? It's out. So really think about what you're saying. The other thing is we're saying relationship. I hear people say, I have a relationship with God. And I said, wow, you've never seen God, but you have faith in God.
Yeah.
But now you got a relationship with your wife or your husband.
Mhm.
Right.
And where's that faith? So
Mhm.
sometimes you may not see what she's saying, but you also got to believe, hey, in my relationship, I got to have faith. And if it's
Mhm.
right, isn't it a beautiful thing when you can support that and see the blessings, just
Yeah.
like when you have faith in God and you see the blessing when
Yes.
it materializes or matures, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's the beautiful thing. You got to really trust in yourself to, like, hey, you know what? If I really love this person and she loves me, I have to have faith. And I have to believe in them. That same kind of what they say mustard seed faith, right?
Mhm.
It should be that same kind of faith in your relationship with your husband and your wife, because that is ultimately he's the blueprint. That's the blueprint, and we're following that blueprint. If you're not doing that, then you're trying to create your own another blueprint. It's not going to work.
Right.
Mhm.
What is your house built on? What is your foundation built on? I want mine on solid ground,
Yes.
rock. So that's
Yes.
what I look at. And sometimes even in believing in someone in faith, know that if it was going in the right direction, it may not come out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Don't beat that other person up.
Mm-mm.
That's again that relationship. You should be there to comfort them, to hold them, to support
Yeah.
them, and to be with them, to be able to keep it moving forward for each other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the other thing, because you're not going to win if you're beat.
Mm-mm.
How are you going to heal this finger if you're taking your thumb or your hand, if you're taking your thumb and bending it backwards this way? You're still going to feel, I'm mad at my thumb, so I'm going to bend it. Guess what? You're feeling that pain. Yeah, you didn't hit the pinky, and that's what you're doing in the relationship.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you beat someone up, when you beat her up or if he beats you up, what's going to happen is you're only hurting each other.
Mm-hmm.
You love each other and love yourself.
Yeah.
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 That's right. That's right.
Follow the blueprint.
That's good. And since you went there, great analogy about the hurting of yourself, right? I want to talk about that just for a moment, and then you guys can ask another question. And just so I know a little bit of history. So, did you ever hit in your 33 years a time of severe sickness?
You know, so in the 33 years, there was an incident. You were aware when Cindy was pronounced dead at Sunnyside from a surgery. And at that moment, for a simple surgery, at that moment, they basically told me, get your clergyman, get whoever you need. We're going to let you see her one more time. And, and the first thing, I just wanted to just go see her. People say, you want to pray, you want to do this. My mindset was to immediately go to her, but something stopped me, and I said, I was going off and I just stopped and I just quick prayer. I mean, people think you got to do these long-winded. I just called on them. And then I went back there, and they told me they're gonna, call some more specialists. They did another surgery. Thank goodness she was on ventilators for a long time and in a semi, coma. But my thing is that showed me, caring for her even after she got out because she couldn't walk well and whatnot in the beginning. It showed me that I wanted to make sure that I value her and our relationship more. Don't put off what we can do today for tomorrow.
Right.
That habit of one day I'm going to take my wife to dinner. One day I'm going to do this, that, or I'm going to take my husband, or I'm going to get him this, or I'm going to, you know what? If you are able, I'm not telling everyone just to go, don't go. If he wants a boat and you can't buy a boat, go buy a boat. Right. If you are able, don't put off today. That's something you can do today for, tomorrow. Do it now. If you want to tell them you love them, do it now. I laugh because Valentine's just came and everyone goes crazy. They triple the price on the roses. And it's like, it's just because I have to do it because it's Valentine's.
Yes.
It amazes me because I ask some of these people, every year I ask the same, do you often get roses? Well,
right.
Our anniversary and Valentine. But that's because I love her. Right? Or I find myself at odds at that because I'm thinking, you love her and that's really what you want to give her.
Right.
Why are you waiting? You may not see the 14th.
Right.
You may not see the anniversary. Right. So when she was in that situation, all I could think about is the way to express myself while we're here now. The way to be definitely even more focused on our relationship while we're in the now. Because we don't know about tomorrow or the future.
That's
right?
Good.
And that to me was a different wake up and approach. To me, your vows are mentioned and done every day and everything you do in life. Wanted to make sure that was always the premise. That, regardless, that I should always be this way. Because if you like that, again, the blueprint, God's blueprint, then your relationship is not going to fail anyway. Right. We always trying to tweak it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you. Because I don't know, I'll be talking all day because that was
that's it changed your entire perspective on your relationship, and both her importance in your life and yours and hers. That's key. Cindy?
With mine, it's every day now because Tino has asthma and COPD, and every time we go to the doctor now, oxygen level is lower and lower.
Okay.
Which for us is like, let's do this today, and because we don't know,
right?
And every day, you go to bed and it's like, are we going to wake up tomorrow? Is he going to wake up tomorrow? Did we do everything we were supposed to today? And it's just so every day is a till death do us part. You know what I mean? It's just like when he goes to work and has to go into the office because we work from home most of the time. I work from home. And he goes into the office every other week. But every time he goes in, I panic. Because he goes down the hill and going to work is like maybe an hour drive to work and an hour drive back. And he is in there and no nebulizer or just his rescue inhaler. And then that's always like my fear is like, I won't be there with him, if anything happens or whatnot. But we just gotta, like we said, leave it up to God.
Yeah.
So
and that and you said something key, both of you in that moment. We need to be living this every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our vows, we live
Yes.
out. So
Yes.
Kaylin and Josie, as you were listening to that, and others that may be considering marriage or are new in the marriage, as Tino and Timmy said, every day you have to live out these vows, because we honestly do not know from one moment to the next, and it's so important, right, to embrace and to express, and we're, I think the older we get, right?
Yeah. I came up with an idea. I call it maximizing the moment. I mean, whatever you can do in that moment, now is the time to put it into practice. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I agree with Minister Tino when he said, don't ever put off tomorrow what you can do today, because for tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah,
And so, and even in being in your best healthy fit, you're well enough to die.
yeah,
And so, my thing is, put it into play because it's not promised. So that's why it's good to make goals and do this. What do we want to do? Dare to be doing something different, because life has a lot to offer, not just in your area, local area. Go see things,
mhm.
go travel, go on a
Yes.
cruise to
Yes.
Hawaii. I mean, I don't know. You may not get to go to Hawaii. Shameless plug, shameless plug.
Wink, wink.
Uh,
Or we can do a destination.
Yeah.
I've been looking.
it really, as long as you guys are doing it together
Yes.
and you're having fun doing it, because what you're creating is long lasting memories.
See, do you have another question?
Yeah.
I'll make a note.
Can I say this question before you?
Which one?
I have a question. What was something recently that your husband or wife did that you really, really appreciate about?
Mm.
Can I go? Can
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you guys have been hearing, but you've been hearing a loud dog barking.
Yes.
So,
Oh my
so let me tell you, I appreciate this though, but it was interesting. So we since we had to relocate here to California from Washington, we had to get rid of our huskies. So and she knows I love animals and dogs, and she sees my peace with the dogs, and I always said I'm gonna get a German Shepherd. And I used to tell her every time, I said, we're going to get a German Shepherd one of these days. And, once we get situated and stuff. And on Father's Day, 2 years ago, Cindy brought a German Shepherd home from her father. Said, happy Father. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for it to train a puppy. Now when you go places, I got to get a kennel for it. But at the same time, I appreciate it because I knew she thought enough about me. She heard me talk about it. That she went ahead and moved on it.
Yeah.
Again in the moment, Broham.
I love it. I love it.
And brought me. So, but every day I tease her, going, who are you? Something like that. I'm glad I didn't say foster or adopt a child. I have. We would have loved them. I'm teasing. But I really did appreciate her for and it could have just for the fact that she thought enough of me.
Yes.
That would have been that's a hint. That's a change in her life too, with a dog running around.
Yeah.
And yet she did that for me. And moved herself out of the way. So that was awesome.
God. Don't let him tell you he loves that dog.
I know he does.
He does. He gets up every morning to let him out. At 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Right, but
I know, right?
Oh man.
Cindy, what about you?
for me, you know what? We're here in California, I think, because of me. Because I love Disneyland. You guys know that. It's like the happiest place for real.
Yes.
It's like when you walk in there, it's like you forget about everything else going on.
Yep.
But you do have to accept the reality that when you walk out, everything is still
Oh
there.
my God.
You know?
Oh, that's
But
real.
for that brief
That's okay.
moment, it's like peace. for
Yeah.
me. Well, we used to come all the time. And we always said, oh, one day, we'd like to retire in California.
Mm.
And so when opportunity came up, it presented itself to him. He was like, "Do you want to move to California?" And I was like, "Ooh, what do I have to give up? What do I have to give up?" And
Mm.
he gave up a lot. We gave up our house out there. We gave up our family is out there,
Yeah.
and every day we talk about this. We miss our family
Mm.
greatly. But I love it here. There's 90% more sun here. It's not, you know what I mean? And coming from Hawaii, that's what I was used to.
Yeah.
So I appreciate him for that, for thinking of me. But
That
I
does
do,
make sense.
I miss our family.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, Disney is our thing.
Find that thing that you could both enjoy together.
Mm-hmm.
Because as life changes, life go on. At some point, it's going to be back to you two. You know, if you keep living,
Yeah.
like I said, when the kids and the grandkids are
That's
all
right.
gone away,
Yeah.
and everything else is removed, you got to
Just
go back to two of you guys. And what do you guys enjoy together?
That's my question.
Okay, I'm
Ask
sorry.
out.
I did.
No,
I did.
We always had a date night, Josie and you guys. We always had a date night that we would go. And usually the kids would jump in. But I feel now that the kids have grown
They would
older,
somehow find us.
But now that they've grown and they got on their own, continue to have a date night. We've never stopped. I feel like we're still that young couple when we first met. We still go to new places. I'll listen to what she's interested in, and we get excited about trying to find a place. We take turns on who picks the place, and we'll have a date night Friday night, after work, and we literally are like if you saw us, you wouldn't even know we were married. Like we're dating each other. That's how we treat it. Like this is all about you. This is all about, and we really want to make each other appreciate it, and we block everything out. Work, kids are out the picture. We're only talking about each other. And about what we're going to do next in our future and how much we appreciate each other and then the ambiance of the place that we may be at.
That's
Date
good.
night is important.
Yeah,
You know
date
what
night
I'm
is
saying?
very
It's
important.
like, especially when you have as many kids as we did.
Yes.
That was.
And you don't have to have a restaurant today.
Right.
Because sometimes we go to a park for a walk. Sometimes we'll go to the beach. So I say that because sometimes you can just be in your house. We had COVID for the last couple of years. Sometimes it's good to do what they say, Netflix and chill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's really important for married couples,
Ours
Netflix
was
and
HGTV.
They go over HGTV, the drag racing, the NASCAR, Netflix and chill. But find some way where it's just about you two and nothing else, and what you two can share. What they were sharing about how they share in NASCAR together. What's something that you guys are sharing? Do you like going to different places to eat? Do you like traveling? Do you like sitting at home and watching, FBI movies or whatever, but find something and block everything else should not be part of that conversation that night.
Good. That's
No,
good.
it's about y'all.
That's good. That has been fun. And and really it's going to encourage someone.
It's gonna help somebody.
Yeah, it is. And I pray, Kaylin and Josie, that you all have gleaned some things from the four of us. This is a powerful unit, right? That when you can connect with other married couples, that it's inspiring, it's encouraging, and it gives you the hope that if they can do it, if they could find a way, that we can find a way too.